right, well, good morning, everybody. I just want to say thank you, Bill, for letting me come back again today to speak and trying to kind of give a little brief rundown of Worcester County. As mentioned before, the data at the national level shows a very strong economy. The unemployment rate is at its lowest. I have about 3.3%. I haven't checked the most recent. And the economic output is growing at a solid pace. But we know that prosperity has not been felt as much in some areas, and some of those cases could be in the rural areas here, like Worcester County. Some of the barriers to that could be the basic infrastructure that can delay growth in our community, causing a gap in offering diverse industries and employment opportunities. Although we face these challenges, we still continue to see success. Worcester County employment numbers continue to rise, and the unemployment numbers continue to decrease at a steady rate. The October 2019 unemployment rate for Worcester County shows a 5.3%. This time last year, it was a 5.9%. And in 2017, it was 6.6%, and in 2016, it reported a 7.3%. So we are a seasonal region, but those numbers do show that year-round job opportunities are open throughout the county, are improving, excuse me. We also continue to see new employment, new opportunities open in our 4 municipalities. You'll see a redevelopment is happening in Ocean City with a new Hilton Hotel is set to open in 2020 at the old Planet Maze location. Berlin's famous Globe, unfortunately, we see has closed, but will not be empty for long. There has been a new business owner has bought it and will be opening up a new restaurant there soon. Snow Hill has welcomed Del Vecchio's, which is an authentic Italian bakery. And the only bad thing about that is that it is right next to my office. The bread is amazing. The cakes, the pastries. He's got those Italian rainbow cookies. Oh my God. I digress. Let me stop. Pocomoke City actually has welcomed the XO Beanery and Bites coffee shop, Jamie and Caitlin Evans, and they have actually opened up the restaurant right down on the river. It's called Dockside, and it's next to the Delmarva Discovery Center. That has been welcomed very well by the community. It's in a great location right on the river, like I said. They get that traffic, they get foot traffic from those that are coming from the Discovery Center. It's a great location, and they're very happy to have them. You can see additional development on the Route 50 corridor there. You see that there's a new dental office coming, there's a new Verizon store that's going to be there, and there are plans for an additional development that are underway for another restaurant and a couple of retail and office space that's going to be coming in that area. Route 589 near Ocean Pines, is seeing growth in the healthcare industry with AGH and PRMC having additional development coming in that community with their specialized services. From the report that I found from the Coastal Association of Realtors, the housing market in Worcester County has seen a pretty good increase from this time last year. And then the Maryland Department of Commerce, Division of Tourism and Film, reported that visitors to Worcester County spent $1.8 billion in 2018, and that's about a 1.5 increase from 2017. Route 113 is nearly complete, with the final phase is projected to have a completion date by June 2020. Worcester County is actively building a strong relationship with the economic engine that is in the backyard of Pocomoke City, which is Wallops Island. We're positioning ourselves to provide opportunities for the aerospace and aerospace related companies that are there to expand or relocate, increase the employment in our region, and just to work together to grow the activity that's in and around Wallops. Worcester County, it prides itself on its renowned public education. Our students are given top-notch instruction for college and career readiness with connections to local business communities through internships and on-the-job training. High-quality education and training play a crucial role in extending opportunity to rural areas. Education benefits both the student and the community. It is true that some young people leave to find better opportunities after they go to college, However, it's also true that young families, drawn back by family and social ties, are the largest source of in-migration in many rural communities. Young families are more likely to come if they believe their children will get a good education. These young professionals bring back important skills and experience and make meaningful contributions to the local economy. My fellow colleagues and I are custom-driven problem solvers. We're catalysts, we're strategists who build relationships with the goal of increasing economic viability for our communities. I've said this before, we here in our beautiful yet very rural communities understand the challenges that we face in growing our economy without sacrificing the natural beauty that everyone comes to appreciate. But we don't let those challenges deter us from our goals. What we have here on the shore is a large group of people seeing the potential our home has to offer and working together to make it happen. We don't work in silos here on the shore. Success in Worcester County is felt in Somerset. Success in Wicomico County creates a positive ripple effect in the other counties, in Wicomico County, and in Delaware, and in Virginia. All the communities here on the Lower Eastern Shore have individual strengths, specific advantages, directly related and connected to our communities, allowing them to thrive, drawing others to say, hey, that's where we need to be. Although the numbers are not as drastic as the other parts of Maryland, I see the same steady improvement in our communities for the future, building upon our existing assets, taking incremental actions to strengthen our communities, and building long-term value that will attract investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. We'll next hear from Danny Thompson with Somerset County.
Good morning. Bill, it's in the Salisbury Chamber. Thank you very much for having us back. And it's certainly an honor to be on this prestigious stage with such fine folks. And so to go after Catherine is good. I wanted to make sure I go before Dave because he'll take all my stuff from me. So anyway. So I think from Somerset County, it was interesting to hear Dr. Dereker's assessment of Somerset, and you're going to hear the rest of the story for Somerset County. So first of all, I want to give just a little bit of a history, and then we'll go into where we think things are going. Catherine talked about education. There was a brand new VOTEC Somerset County Technical High School that just opened up this year. It's an excellent facility. If you've not had a chance to go there and see that, that's going to be a great for our the skill set for our students. Excellent opportunity. We have some colleagues from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore here. Crisfield in Somerset County developed a Crisfield Somerset Aviation Advisory Board. Mr. Owens is the chairman of that. We've been working to develop the airport, and I met Dave, the lady from Salisbury. Your name, Dawn, sorry about that. And so she actually invited us to take a tour there and to see if there's any collaboration that we can look at. They just celebrated at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore this year 30 years in their aviation science program, with an anniversary back right after Labor Day. Handy Seafood celebrated 125 years in Crisfield this past summer. During Economic Development Week, we hosted an event for our sponsors and for our private sector at Kings Bay Mansion that's located in Marion. I would suggest you, if you've not been there, Google that, Kings Bay Mansion. You'll be surprised that it's located in Somerset, right in Marion there. In the as far as industrial parks go, we have the Princess Anne Industrial Park that has lots that are available. There's another development that's going right next to Reynolds Excavating that will be starting this early next year. There's lots still available in Crisfield. next to the Food Lion there's an opportunity for a build-to-suit on the opposite side of where the strip is at in Crisfield by Food Lion. Carville Hall is still under contract. The city extended the contract with the developer. They're doing their due diligence on that. As far as infrastructure goes, broadband, I think it was alluded to that Dr. Derrico said that about a broadband and 5G. So Chop Tank Electric, we were just at a presentation. I think Susan, Catherine, that were there. They just did a presentation down at Mako, the Mako Winter Conference. And Chop Tank is looking to get maybe into the broadband business down in our area, in the rural parts of where they serve, which would be a big plus. I'm actually a Chop Tank user. So with Spectrum, and I think the county is also doing a study on that. Solar Phase 2 is going forward in the middle part of the county. The Clean Bay project in Westover is still going through their regulatory piece with the county and state. Natural gas was alluded to. I know Chesapeake Utilities is a sponsor for this event. They've been great to work with. Chesapeake Utilities was the successful award on the natural gas initiative for Somerset County. That's going to change the face and dynamics. I know it's up in Wycomico and in parts of Worcester, but we'll be coming down. I think Rich may touch on that a little bit in his presentation a little bit later. The one thing I wanted to talk about, though, is the dynamics of urban versus rural. You know, we know that it's an easy thing for Maryland to see that. In Somerset County, we see the growth is hitting around that northern part in the corridor there. So a lot of that plays into the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and also the 30,000 vehicles that go up and down Route 13 right through Princess Anne. So some of the growth there, it's kind of like an easier fit. And I'll touch on the Crisfield and Princess Anne. When I was doing this report for the Princess Anne Chamber of Commerce, I spoke at their last meeting. I went through and looked at last year's notes, and there was 8 new businesses that started last year at this time. And I was like, well, there's no way I probably had all my thunder then, right? And then when I went in this year's report, it was 7 new businesses. That's 15 new businesses in little old Princess Anne, Maryland. You know, and I know Berlin gets the thing, and you know, and all this stuff, and Salisbury, you know, but this is Princess Anne, man. That's 15 businesses. I mean, to me, that should be on a billboard somewhere, right? But anyway, so I'm going to go through those now. Farmers Insurance came there. A Dollar Tree opened up. Dunkin' Donuts just opened up. We've got a brewery that's on South Princess Anne. Wow, 2 minutes. She yielded 1 minute to me. Is that all right? So the brewery in South Princess Anne will be opening up next year. Independence Hall was just bought by Brett Davis. We've got a company that's coming, a restaurant that's coming in to backfill Legacy Bistro. And Squeaky's Cafe opened up right across from the Washington Inn Hotel where Dave proposed to his wife. So I know Dave's going to want to take her over to Squeaky's now and see this place. So anyway, and in Crisfield, Summers Cove Motel has done a big renovation there. Hitesh Patel will be looking at putting in a brand down there. You'll see something coming out in that in early summer or late spring. Excited to hear about that. McCready Hospital with PRMC. Those plans are still moving forward. Crisfield has a new operator at the Circle Inn restaurant. And they will be opening up in January of this year. Wow, what am I going to be able to cut out here? Princess Anne Campground, I don't want to leave that one out. Right across from UMES Boulevard, there's a 65-acre site. It was purchased almost 2 years ago. It's a Royal Farms will be breaking ground there. That's a public. It's on their site now. But there's also looking at a hotel, major hotel that will be coming in right across the street from there. There's about 80 to 100,000 square feet of commercial retail space that will be located there. There's also 4 pad sites that will be located there, waiting for State Highway on the stoplight. The Arts and Entertainment District, Sean is in the back there. Our Arts and Entertainment District in Crisfield is really growing. We're looking for Audubon Basu from the SAGE Policy Group. His study will be coming out very shortly. I'm looking forward to see the stats on that. God bless you. Thank you very much. I tried.
Thank you, Danny. We'll next get to hear from Susan Banks with Dorchester County.
Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Mine's a little long too, so that's a slide of my grandfather, and I had a nice, funny, long story to go into, but I'm not going to go into it now. My family's been in Dorchester for, I don't know, since the 1600s. I grew up on a farm with my extended family, my aunts and uncles, and my grandparents, and my grandfather had a boat building business. And he was pretty well known, and he had lots of visitors, and one of his more prominent visitors was James Michener. And James Michener did a lot of the technical research for the book Chesapeake on the farm. And I've read about this too, so it must have been a memorable experience for him. But one day somebody decided that they'd take him out oyster dredging. And I'm fairly certain they showed him a good time. And when he came back in, he told his wife he would never complain about the price of an oyster. So our farmers and our watermen are a central part of of Dorchester's heritage and still remain a strong base to our economy. We have 5-generation companies that are still thriving, like J.M. Clayton Seafood, that have been operating for over 130 years. We have many expanding businesses like Protenergy and Valley Proteins that are both multi-million-dollar projects. We've had the $43 million North Dorchester High School project that was completed over the summer. The landscape has changed as you go through Cambridge, and maybe some of you have noticed the Cambridge Marketplace. They're putting up a new Chick-fil-A, and they're going to be adding a 20,000 square foot office building. And my favorite part was the demolition of the Kmart building. I'm sure most of you know that eyesore that was right on Route 50, and I actually happened to be driving by one day, and I saw it coming down. I didn't know it was going to be coming down that day. I pulled over. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's very exciting. I think it was up at least 25 years. It's been vacant. The packing house across from Marketplace is starting construction. Last month they started on the smokestacks, and I believe they'll be done, or they're planning to be done, everything by the end of 2020. It's an exciting time in our downtown. We opened up 14 new businesses, and several of them are celebrating milestone anniversaries. RER Brewing is expanding with a new addition called RER Eats. We've also learned you can't underestimate the impact of public art. We have several murals in Dorchester County, and many of them were actually inspired from passages in the book Chesapeake. The latest is a Harriet Tubman mural that gained national attention when a photo was captured of a little girl reaching out her hand. The mural has had thousands of visitors, even spurring ancillary businesses like Minty's Place, a distinctive Southern restaurant. The Tubman Visitor Center in Church Creek has had over 62,000 visitors this year from January to October, and we expect those numbers to be higher for November and December because of the Harriet Tubman movie that came out. Visitors also come to compete in the Ironman triathlons. Between Eagleman and Ironman races, we draw 4,000 athletes annually, nearly from every state in 70 countries. Over the past 5 years, Ironman has had a $25 million impact to our local economy, and I want to thank Beacon for doing those studies for us. We have over a dozen metal fabricating businesses. 2 of them are global competitors, Cambridge International and GKD USA. They're part of a world-class local industry cluster of conveyor belting, filtration, architectural mesh, and more. The metal mesh cluster creates a healthy competition. It has a positive impact and furthers innovative research and design. There are approximately 350 people working within these businesses. GKD partnered with the Maryland Department of Labor and DCTC to employ a welding apprentice. We are proud to be the first county on the shore to sign up for this program. The program will assist in addressing hiring needs and exploratory career paths for students. It also gives Dorchester businesses a unique opportunity to train, inspire, and shape high school students into top-performing employees. As I noted before, Dorchester has strong roots in agriculture and seafood. By combining leading science and innovative practices with generations of experience, our traditional industries are now cutting edge. That's Horn Point, yep. We have the largest oyster hatchery on the eastern seaboard, housed at the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science. This 880-acre campus at Horn Point pioneers environmental research and employs 115 people and grows almost 2 billion oysters in its hatchery. Yeah. In less than 10 years, Hooper's Island Oyster has become a vertically integrated full-service business, growing their oysters and making their own equipment. 3 of their women biologists / oyster farmers were featured in Martha Stewart Living magazine this past July. Blue Oyster is a new business that brings a revolutionary approach by brokering nutrient credits. Blue Oyster provides oysters to farmers to cultivate in local waters. Then they purchase the oysters back and sell them to global markets. Next, they broker the nutrient credit. This type of mitigation banking offsets unwanted impacts in our local waterways. So new opportunities are not only in aquaculture, but also in farming. Our farmers are considering ways to diversify, especially in the botanical sector, specifically cannabis. The hemp industry in Maryland is only a year old, and Dorchester is poised to become a key player. Dorchester has 118 acres of industrial hemp registered in the pilot program. The Eastern Shore Innovation Center is home to 2 hemp-related businesses, Peninsula Holistic, a CBD startup, and Sunex Analytical, a testing lab that is working with approximately 1/3 of the farms growing in Maryland's pilot program. Sunex is 2 years old and is already expanding. They're transforming 3,000 square feet in the Innovation Center as we speak. I'm going to skip. We have 2 medical cannabis growers, one in Hurlock and one in Cambridge. Calta was highlighted in the Washington Post as the first outdoor commercial cannabis grow on the East Coast. They invested $11 million already and plan to start a $5 million project next month. They've hired 13 people in the last quarter, bringing their total employment to 83. We also have a state-of-the-art dispensary. There are approximately 145 people working in the cannabis industry in Dorchester, and we hope to improve that number in the near future. I'll close now. Dorchester is in the midst of a renaissance. Many of our businesses are expanding and new businesses are opening. By working together, embracing change, and being open to visionary ideas, we will pave our path forward to economic growth. Economic growth, development, and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Great to be here again this year. Wicomico's unemployment rate is 4%. It's a 12-year low. And we're running at an employment growth rate of about 1.6%, which is something we haven't seen in the last 4 or 5 years either. So what's happening in the marketplace? Why? And what does that have to do with the economic conditions in 2020? Well, first of all, we were growing jobs at a far greater rate than the nation and the state of Maryland prior to the 2007 recession, so we had a longer way to go down. When 2009, 2010, when the state of Maryland and the country started adding jobs, we didn't do so until 2 years later, so that lagging indicator was there 2 years behind, and that gives some credence for further momentum, in my opinion, in this economic cycle. Second, you look at the disruptions we've seen in the marketplace in different sectors in the past 10 to 15 years, and we find ourselves in attractive economic sectors in 2019 and going into 2020. Some more intertwined with global economies and global conditions than others. Agriculture and agribusiness is certainly one of those that is intertwined with global conditions. And just like, I'll go off script a little bit, scientists can trace tiny bits of phytoplankton in the ocean back to the great whale species, and economists can trace a similar food chain from commodity trading desk in Chicago right down to the farm fields in Wicomico County. So pricing on corn and soybeans are major crops here. There's a lot of volatility in 2019. It looks more promising going into 2020. Price of poultry has been relatively flat in 2019. It looks more promising in 2020 as well. If you look at another key industry sector of education and healthcare, it's one of our largest job sectors in our economy in Wicomico. That's pretty steady. We see the health system that their goal and mantra in life is to keep people well. So we're seeing a broadening healthcare system toward wellness. So new business formations, new entrepreneurial endeavors like physiologists and personal trainers and yoga instructors and nutritionists and dietitians, all small business formations that we can expect to see continue in that space from an education standpoint. And public education, too, one of our major employers, Mr. Hanlon, in our Wicomico County as well. But the Salisbury University, concentrating on that rebranding campaign, or strengthening the brand of the university, as important today is going to be more important in the next 4 or 5 years as we compete for students. The entrepreneurship competitions, the Mid-Atlantic Sales and Marketing Institute, they're having a big national sales competition next March. Those type of events help differentiate our university from others and help strengthen that brand. Manufacturing plays a big role in our economy, and in that space where it's a little more intertwined with global conditions, especially on the input side, but the space that we're strong in, life science, these are companies, part of Purdue, Cadista, Zoetis, Tishcon Corporation, Trinity Stero, with the aging of the population. It looks promising for us as well. Definitely the cable hard electronics in terms of cable harnesses for military work, and the microwave technology for military and commercial, really driven by the deployment of 5G, otherwise known as fifth generation mobile technology. We see strong exponential growth actually in the next 5 to 10 years within that space. So you'll see existing companies expand, and you'll see new entrants into that market. If we combine the construction sector and the professional business services sector, that represents about 14% of our job base in Wicomico. So they're important sectors. Construction, these are your carpenters, your wall trimmers, your electricians, your plumbers, your HVAC techs, roofers. Professional business services, these are your architects, your engineers, your surveyors, your paralegals, your mortgage brokers, real estate folks, all tied to that residential, a large part to the residential construction market. I think our friends over in Sussex County continue their growth. Single-family permits are up about 8.5% to 9%. We don't see that slowing down next year either. That bodes well for us in Wicomico. And inventory in Wicomico of single-family homes is now below 400, so we've got an absorption rate of about 2.5% maybe. I'll yield to some of the other experts, but it's getting down to a vibrant real estate market in Wicomico. So once that inventory dropped below 400, we started to see price appreciation on single-family homes, and we need price appreciation to be able to afford to build new homes. And so I think you look at something like the former Salisbury 80-acre mall site, you can expect to see, I think there's 160 or so single-family homes scheduled to be built there. Non-residential construction looks very similar. The market for that space is in the 8, 10, 12, 15,000 square foot range. Not a lot of space on the market. Again, low inventory, and that's why you're seeing some of the properties that have been existing or sitting there for a while being purchased and repurposed. You'll continue to see that. It also may lend some credence on development or new construction opportunities, especially in the industrial side, something we haven't seen in some time. So you kind of put all that together. I know it's quick, but Aaron tells me we got to be quick, and Danny ate up most of my time anyway. So you put all that together, and it looks fairly steady and promising in 2020. There is an air of a bit uncertainty, and I think that's the best term for it, uncertainty, due to trade policies and how that impacts our economy here, especially in the ag sector going into 2020. But again, it looks to me, it looks more favorable than it did in 2019. But you balance that against rate structures, which are attractive today in terms of capital expenditures. And a wise man once told me that he did his best growing in challenging times, and I think that's what he was talking about there. So it's probably a great time to invest. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next, we'll hear from Bill Pfaff with Sussex County, Delaware.
Bill? Hello? Bill, Bill, thanks for having me back again this year. I actually thought, look back at what I said last year, and at the end of my remarks, I said that we were having legislation introduced to have the eastern shore of Maryland annexed into Delaware. So I figured that might have gotten me off the hook for today, but I see it didn't. But again, thanks to Bill and the Chamber. What I thought I'd do is give you a little bit of a snippet of what's happened in Sussex County over the last year. I want to start out with the healthcare industry, and I'll start at the most northern end of our state. Bay Health opened up a new facility in the Milford area, the most northern part of our county, and the old Milford Hospital was purchased by Nationwide and will become the Milford Wellness Village. We just opened up a facility there called Lored. I'm sure that a number of people are familiar with that, and that opened up last week. BB Hospital is building a new health campus in Millville and expanding their operation on Route 24 in Rehoboth and Lewis. Beginning January 1st, Nanticoke Hospital, the final steps to the merger with Nanticoke Hospital will take place with PRMC. I'm going to quote a number. I was at a meeting 2 weeks ago, and I hope I have this right. That actually will create an 800 employee operation for PRMC. Throughout the county, we've had a number of assisted living communities built this past year. And of course, as you know, our population in Sussex County is an aging population. Let's talk about sewer expansion. If you didn't know it, Sussex County government's in the sewer business. And I think last year I shared with everyone my thoughts about the center of the county and the western side of the county. I consider that the new frontier. As the eastern side of the county begins to build up, and it's more likely that things are going to happen in the center of the county and the western side of the county. Our big project right now is the western sewer expansion, and we should have that completed by later this year. That's actually taking sewer from Greenwood, Bridgeville, bringing it on down to the Seaford area. So that whole corridor on 13 is going to open up, and I really do expect that area to really blossom, and there's going to be huge opportunity, create huge opportunity on the western side of the county. In the Blades area, the Purdue litter operation has just been sold to a Maryland-based company and will expand into the bioenergy business. Allen Harim has moved their corporate headquarters to Millsboro in the old Vlasic pickle plant operation, and they've actually added a new operation there that has created 75 new jobs. Merck Animal Health in Millsboro is also expanding. Delaware Coastal Business Park. I think when I was here last year, I shared with you the business park and the shovel-ready sites that we have. Again, it's low cost for the land with all the amenities. Currently, we have 2 new businesses under construction, and they plan to open in 2020. Our airport. We have a new airport manager, was just brought on board about 3 months ago. Our airport can handle 737s, and future plans to expand the runway will take place once the realignment takes place on Park Avenue. We've been working on a statewide initiative called Ready in 6. This study was conducted to create best practices on getting projects building ready in 6 months. That we will announce the findings for that Ready in 6 best practices on December 10th. In terms of tools that the county has embraced for small businesses and actually all businesses in Sussex County, we bought a program called Size Up, and we've posted this on our website. so that businesses can make smarter decisions on expansion and startup. Here's the things that it does for the small business. How do you compare to your competitors? Where are your competitors located and where are your suppliers located? Where's your customers located? Where should you advertise for your business? And how is my business performing compared to my competitors? We've also introduced another tool called economic gardening. The County Council allocated $25,000 for us to work with 5 scaling businesses in our county. These businesses are assigned a team that will help them develop a plan for their future, for their business. We've also implemented a new partnership with our tourism partner. And this past year, we've created an economic development publication that we've actually embedded in the tourism publication that has a circulation of about 55,000. We figure with all the visitors that we have that comes to the area, there may be 1 or 2 business owners that might say, hey, listen, I like to live here if I could, so we want them to know what business opportunities are available. We've been working with Site Selectors International in creating a site certification plan, and that project is underway, and we'll be talking with a number of our partners throughout the state in order to have certified site-ready sites throughout the state. Workforce is always an issue. When you have low unemployment, and Sussex County's unemployment rate has been below the national level for the last 10 years. So we do constantly have an employment issue. In closing, I wanted to let you know we have 7 new hotels that will be opening up in Sussex County here in 2020, and we have 2 others under study. Thank you again for having me today.
Thank you, Bill. And last but certainly not least, we'll next hear from Rich Morrison with Accomack County, Virginia.
Thank you. We don't have bright lights like this down in Accomack, so if I fumble, I apologize. Anyway, several years ago, someone in a high-level position in Maryland government told me they considered Accomack the 25th county of Maryland. It feels like that this morning, so thank you all for coming. Bill, thanks for inviting me, and I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. My goal here is really just to help you know and learn a little bit more about Accomack. I don't have a ton of detail. If you need details, hit me up later. But so that maybe when you hear about Accomack County, you could at least say, hey, I know a little bit about that. So that's my goal today. And I got a presentation. I'll kind of at a glance information session. Later today, you're going to hear from my friends Dave Pierce and Dale Nash from NASA and Virginia Space, respectively. They do a great job of telling you what's going on at NASA and in Virginia Space and Wallops. So I'm going to go light on that, even though I know that's probably what you all know us best for. And I'm going to try to talk to you about some other things that are going on in the county that are pretty interesting and pretty important for our economy. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and start the presentation. Again, we'll just kind of do an at a glance. Our population is a little more than 33,000. I think we probably have, our biggest town is probably smaller than anybody else's of my colleagues' counties, and that's Chincoteague. Our school enrollment's about 5,000. Our workforce is a little over 13,000, and we are proud to have the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, be our hometown hero. So that's really good for us, and it's been really good for us. Our top 5 employers in the county are Purdue Farms, the Wallops Complex, and for those of you who don't know, the Wallops Complex is made up of more than just NASA and Virginia Space, but the Navy has a huge presence and a very significant national security presence there. The Coast Guard is there. NOAA is there. All of the weather feeds for the whole East Coast from the satellites come in through NOAA. If you've been out to Wallops or driven by, they're on Chincoteague Road. All those big satellites. Some of those are NASA's, and some of those are Navy or are NOAA's, and they share those things. Tyson is number 3. Accomack County Schools is 4, and Riverside Shore Memorial Hospital is number 5 in our county for employers. Not surprisingly, if you look at from a sector standpoint, agriculture is our biggest employment sector. That's primarily driven by poultry and the poultry processing facilities. We have 2 in the county, Purdue and Tyson. Aerospace is number 2 with about 1,900 employees. Tourism is big for us. It's not as big as Ocean City, but Chincoteague is a real tourism powerhouse. Our healthcare is growing and is doing fairly well, and educational, both the public school system, and we have Eastern Shore Community College in the middle of the county. So over the last several years, we've had some pretty significant economic changes in the county, all positive. We had Riverside Shore Memorial build a brand new hospital relocated from Nassauatix in Northampton County. We had the Amazon Solar Farm, which is an 80 meg facility up in the northern part of the county. At the time that was constructed, it was the largest solar facility east of the Mississippi. Doesn't have that distinction any longer, but it was at the time. Our community college is growing. They're building a brand new building, replacing an old one that was built in the 60s. Our library is expanding and is building a new building in Parksley. We had a huge surge in poultry house construction from about 2016 to present, and we had over 200 new poultry houses, and these are the big houses, 66 by 600. The Antares launches at Wallops have been a boon for us, and Chincoteague has been voted on numerous occasions as one of the best places, small towns in the country to visit. So it's kind of continuing with our recent headlines, with the help of, with the lead of NASA and Virginia Space in the county, did a small part in this. We were able to land Rocket Lab. They broke ground last March, I believe, and will be launching rockets from Wallops second quarter of 2020. And those are small to medium-sized rockets, and it's expected when they get up and running that they'll be launching about a rocket a month. So that's a pretty good clip. Our Wallops Research Park is open and ready for business. In fact, Rocket Lab is our anchor tenant in there right now, and that building is under construction currently. As my colleague to my left here suggested, sewer is important to growth, and we have a major sewer expansion. The Hampton Roads Sanitary District is expanding, and that's huge for the county because much of the county is unserved with sewer right now. We had one of our big eyesores, Whispering Pines, was demolished, and overall, a good economy equals few vacant buildings and overall good stuff. From our kind of just the at a glance, what our drivers and what the impact of the economy. Wallops is about 1.4 billion. Our ag is about 1.3 billion, so those are really significant. Chincoteague has about 1.3 million visitors a year. Tourism contributes about 300 million annually. Wallops has about 1,900 people. Ag is a little over 4,600, and our medical-related impact is about 100 million. Our challenges are lack of natural gas. So anybody in the room who wants to talk to me about gas, I'd be happy to talk to you. Danny's getting it, we're not, so we could use it. Geography is a challenge for us. We're not close to any interstates. We have some problems with groundwater withdrawal for large users, and of course, like everybody, workforce is a challenge for us and getting a reliable workforce. Our opportunities, obviously, I've kind of touched on these, our Wallops Research Park, our airport industrial park, aerospace and unmanned vehicles, the sewer, small business growth, aquaculture, which we include as part of our agriculture numbers, tourism, and growth in healthcare sectors. So overall, the economy is pretty good. It's going to be similar, I think, in 2020 as it was to 2019. And as you might expect, and others have alluded to, with our big ag, global events and global trade agreements are important. So thank you very much.